Welcome to Howard's Opinion, the podcast where we dive into the world of sports and give you my unfiltered take on all the latest developments. I'm your host, Howard, and I'm excited to share my thoughts with you today. We're coming off a thrilling weekend in the NFL, and one of the standout performances was the Seattle Seahawks dominating 44-13 win over the New Orleans Saints. I mean, what can you say about this team? They're looking like a force to be reckoned with, folks. Rookie wide receiver Ty Horton is making waves, scoring his third touchdown in just 3 games. This kid is on fire. But it wasn't just Horton who impressed. The Seahawks' special teams unit was on point, with a huge punt block that set up a score. And let's not forget about quarterback Sam Darnold, who's looking like a seasoned pro out there. He's got the instincts, he's got the arm, and he's got the chemistry with his receivers. I'm telling you, this team is cooking with gas right now. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Howard, it's just 2 games, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I'm here to tell you, this Seahawks team has something special. They've got the energy, they've got the momentum, and they've got the talent. And with their home crowd behind them, they're almost unstoppable. Of course, there are still some areas for improvement. The run game needs to get going, and Kenneth Walker needs to find his rhythm. But overall, I'm loving what I'm seeing from this team. They're hungry, they're focused, and they're ready to take on the best of the best. And speaking of the best, what's up with the Saints coaching staff? Kellen Moore looked like he was in way over his head out there. I mean, rolling over onto his back and showing his belly. That's not exactly the kind of leadership you want to see from your coach. But enough about that. We've got a lot more to talk about on today's show, including some fascinating insights from around the sports world. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some opinionated commentary. We'll be right back with more fascinating sports news on Howard's Opinion. Welcome back to Howard's Opinion. We're diving into the world of sports for our middle segment today, and I've got a fascinating story to share with you all. The Philadelphia Eagles are making headlines after their thrilling comeback win against the Los Angeles Rams. Down 26-13 in the third quarter, it seemed like all hope was lost, but quarterback Jalen Hurts and his team had other plans. As we delve into the details of this epic turnaround, one name stands out: A.J. Brown. The star receiver was virtually invisible in the first half, with 0 catches on just 1 target. But something clicked in the second half, and Brown exploded onto the scene, hauling in 6 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown. His performance was instrumental in the Eagles' 20-point surge, which ultimately sealed their 33-26 victory. Now, I know what you're thinking. What sparked this dramatic shift? According to reports, it was a change in strategy from first-year offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo. He began calling more shots downfield, and Hurts responded by throwing for 209 yards and 3 scores in the third and fourth quarters. It's clear that getting the ball to Brown was a key factor in their success. But here's the thing. This win doesn't necessarily mean the Eagles' offensive woes are behind them. Their rushing attack, which was so dominant last season, is still struggling to find its footing. And with star right tackle Lane Johnson out injured, there are concerns about the team's ability to protect Hurts and open up holes for their running backs. Despite these challenges, the Eagles are choosing to focus on the positives. As head coach Nick Sirianni said in his post-game presser, "We have pride in this win, as ugly as it was and as beautiful as it isn't." It's clear that this team is still finding its identity, but with Brown and Hurts leading the charge, they're certainly capable of putting up big numbers. As we move forward, it'll be interesting to see if the Eagles can sustain this momentum. Will they continue to push the ball downfield and get Brown involved in the offense? And can they address their issues on the ground to become a more well-rounded team? Only time will tell, but for now, it's clear that this team has the potential to be a force to be reckoned with in the NFL. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Howard's Opinion. Welcome back to Howard's Opinion, folks. We've had a fantastic discussion so far, and I'm excited to dive into our final segment for today. As we wrap up, I want to shift the focus to the world of sports, specifically baseball. The Toronto Blue Jays have been making waves, and I think it's time we took a closer look. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Howard, what's the big deal about the Blue Jays? Well, let me tell you. This team has been on fire lately, with a strong lineup and impressive pitching. They're currently sitting at the top of the American League, and it's hard not to get excited about their chances. One of the key factors contributing to their success is their elite defense. These guys are making plays that leave you speechless, and it's a big reason why they've been able to stay ahead of the competition. But what really sets them apart is their all-hands-on-deck approach to offense. They're not relying on just one or two stars. Instead, they're getting contributions from the entire team. Of course, when you're talking about baseball, you have to mention the pitching. The Blue Jays' rotation is looking solid, with Kevin Gausman and Shane Bieber leading the charge. And let's not forget about Max Scherzer and Trey Yesavage. That's a fascinating duo right there. Now, I know some of you might be wondering about the other starting pitchers. Will Jose Berrios or Eric Lauer make the cut? It's tough to say, but one thing's for sure. The Blue Jays have some difficult decisions ahead of them. As we look to the postseason, it's clear that the Blue Jays have a real shot at taking it all the way. But if they want to win the World Series, they'll need their star players to step up. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, and George Springer. These guys have the potential to take over games and flip the series in an instant. So, what do you think, folks? Can the Blue Jays bring home the championship? I'd love to hear your thoughts on social media using the hashtag Howard's Opinion. That's all for today's Howard's Opinion. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, these are some of my humble thoughts.